Have you ever wondered what's underneath our large cities? Well, today we're going to find out what's in the underworld of Philadelphia. In this video, we're going to be exploring underneath Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If you'd like to see what this is and where it goes, all you need to do is come along with me. For now, this is going to be the last of the daylight as we enter into the darkness. I'm also not alone. My friend Matt's joining me here too. So we're going to explore this area together. So just to briefly let you know what we're looking at before I go into further detail, we do have an active line here, which is operated by CSX. So it is a active line, potential trains to come through. They are coming through this tunnel area, and further down, it goes through its own separate tunnel and veers off. Our main focus though, as I almost trip, is this tunnel here. This one has some significant history, which I can talk about in just a moment, and also some interesting things that we may find along the way. But it does go directly beneath Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Before we head in, I wanted to show you this wall here, which is really well done with some graffiti art pieces here. Some really talented individuals. Some of them are made to be like picture frames hanging on the wall. This one stands out because it looks like a subway tunnel right there. So I'm sure we're going to encounter a lot of this along the way, but it's right here near the beginning or near the end, depending on how you want to look at it. Also, tons of trash down here, and we're going to come across most likely signs of homeless people, which there is a tent over there. But we're here on a rather chilly, windy March morning, early afternoon day. Well, before we get too deep into this, I'm sure you want to know what this tunnel is, what it was used for, how it all came about. So let me share that with you right now. Before we talk about the history of this tunnel and line, we have to jump back to earlier days as to when this was originally constructed as a canal system. The Delaware and Schuylkill Navigation Company was incorporated in 1792 to open a canal alongside the Schuylkill River from Philadelphia 17 miles to Norristown, Pennsylvania. The canal was hand dug along the future route of Pennsylvania Avenue behind the Art Museum and all the way to Broad Street along this corridor. Work on the canal was suspended when investors in the Delaware and Schuylkill Canal Company lost faith in the project and the company's assets plummeted. The company went bankrupt in the mid-1790s after spending about $220,000. However, occasional work on the canal reportedly occurred as late as 1798. After the canal company went bust, the right-of-way was used by the Philadelphia and Columbia Railroad, one of the earliest railroads in America and the first railroad in the world built by a government rather than a private enterprise. It extended westwards from Broad and Vine Streets to Columbia, Pennsylvania. Started in 1828 and completed in 1834, the Philadelphia and Columbia Railroad laid its tracks in or along the abandoned canal bed, or simply used the canal's right-of-way as a matter of convenience. The Philadelphia and Columbia Railroad became part of the Pennsylvania Railroad at about 1850, except for the part in Philadelphia, which went to the Reading Railroad. The Reading Railroad completed the City Branch subway in the 1890s to eliminate traffic problems caused by tracks that crossed most of the city north and south streets at a grade from the Schuylkill River to Broad Street. Many of the tunnel areas were constructed with a cut and cover method, meaning they excavated down creating a void, and once completed, they cover the top. This line was active until a few decades ago and was owned and operated by Conrail, with one of its last customers being the Philadelphia Inquirer, which used to print its newspapers at its Broad and Callowhill Street headquarters. The Inquirer used rolls of paper delivered via trains on this line and used to distribute papers this way as well. The Sunken City branch line turns northwest behind the Rodin Museum and continues under Pennsylvania Avenue as a closed subway. Part of that section of the subway is still in use by CSX's East Side Line, formerly the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad's Philadelphia-Baltimore Main Line. Now they have a better idea of what was taking place down here. I'm just going to show you a few of the things along the way, like someone's site right here. It's a suitcase, tarp, sneakers, mattress. Well, it looks like they, at some point, brought down a lot of truckloads of ballast. So they would have had to have driven a triaxle down here to dump these. Not sure what their plans are for it, but where we're walking though, basically just a dirt floor, stones here and there, no tracks, no ties, no nothing yet. But we'll keep our eyes peeled, see if we come across any. So there is the active train tunnel, just to the right of that. Matt spotted, it looks like bedrock coming out of the ground. Is that bedrock or is that like a sandy material? That's actually sand and dirt. Yeah, it's soft material. So there's like a, I don't know if it's backfilled here. There's like an upper level. Here's a railroad tie. Yeah, it's like black sand.
Coal dust? Soot?
It's really dusty too. Like as soon as you stomp on it, it'll fall. Be covered. Yeah, since we're up on top of here now, we'll just kind of see where it goes. It does stop up here at a wall. This stuff is really sandy and silty. And you can see the top's all concrete walls.
Look at the wood forms.
Oh yeah, you can see the lines.
Where they put the boards to form the concrete.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the grain.
Yeah, that's really detailed. And that's pretty much it. It just that ends up here at the wall, which is a stone wall, which is different. There's a piece of timber right there. Concrete, then stone. And then we have the active tunnel. So we'll give you a view down there before we go on the other side and proceed ahead.
It's the balance of having too much crap on it.
Yeah, it's a big heavy light.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the cutout right there. It's like the little vestibule, so if a train is coming,
Hang out there.
yeah, you got a little safe scape. You want to demonstrate that?
Do I face out or face in?
Face out. There you go. So yeah, just enough for one or two people. Now this tunnel here is brick lined on the top. Some water drippage coming down.
A lot of labor to build all that.
Yeah. Stone on the bottom. So this tunnel's got some age to it.
And then we have infrastructure here, wiring.
And it's conduit and it's all rotted out. There's wood planks there with bracketing on them, so something was attached there as well.
Both sides? No, that side has
It's
something else.
yeah, just piping. Probably maybe water, gas, electric. So we may or may not catch a train later, but we're gonna go right past. Ooh, watch out for those wrong steps. And here's a rocking chair. Just random here. There's the daylight where we came from. And the unique thing is that this tunnel is not completely dark. There's plenty of natural light, and I'm going to show you why once we get closer. You really have to stop and appreciate the manual labor that went into constructing this. The heavy block stones, millions of bricks, multiple layers, and then putting rails through here. Oh, there's another little vestibule area right there. Actually found an old spike for once. And this vestibule is different. It's arched and it's made out of brick. Probably a little bit bigger than the one that Matt was standing in. Let there be light, and that would be Skylight. My very first clip of this video was taken right up there. These are vents up on Pennsylvania Avenue. They are staggered throughout, and they are basically air vents for the old steam locomotives. Today, they're just operating as natural skylights. It's just a grate up there on the road surface. And I did bring a tool with me. We should be able to get some measurements of how high that is from where we're standing, and also the width of this tunnel. And we also noticed too, these little vestibule cutouts are pretty often spread out, like I should say pretty closely spread out. All right, so I'm gonna do a couple different measurements. I'm going to get you the floor, the bottom to the top of the curved brick. We'll do that first. 21 feet, 10 inches from where I'm standing to the top. Now we'll do across. Do you have a guesstimate, Matt? See how close you are?
60 feet.
Let me guess, let me see. I'm gonna say 50, 55. So stick it against here. $52, 8 inches. Yes, I'm the victor. Now we could do from the bottom to the top where the vents are, street level. Okay, so for where I'm standing to the brick just below street level, shows 25 feet, 7 inches, add about 3 to 4 feet. I'd say close to 30 feet street level. Now, based on the width of this tunnel here, you can imagine there'd be multiple lines. Me and Matt were talking about it off camera. I'm imagining definitely at least 3 lines coming through, possibly 4, especially with the amount of cutout vestibules that are down here. So this would have been a super busy area. And just to think back in the day, this would have been a canal that never came to fruition. So really unique history beneath Philadelphia. A lot of great visuals down here, and we're gonna be coming up upon a little encampment site here. It's really hard to put into words how big it really is. I mean, we got actual measurements. Matt, do me a favor, just walk ahead a little bit. If you want to shine your lights, up to you, but just to get a sense of scale. How tall are you?
5'6".
Really?
5'7".
Okay. He's 5'7", I thought he was taller. So 5'7" individual walking down here, that's what it looks like. And this is not snow. This is tissues, used tissues. So just one of the many things you have to watch out for if you are down here. Thankfully it's a cold, windy day, so not a whole lot of smell. Anyone here? We're just passing through. This may not be an active site anymore. Oh, you should see all the butane bottles here, like camp stove fuel. Dozens of them.
The green propane.
Yeah, propane tanks there. Look at the amount of aluminum. Someone could definitely cash in on this. Arrowin bicycle. That's an old bicycle too. Looks like somebody's been cleaning up. Those trash bags are full. This might be a semi-frequent in sight. Even these boots look kind of clean and new.
We'll take your word for it.
Yeah. Like I said, they have a decent place to call home because they have air vent right there, skylight. They know if it's sunny or cloudy or raining or snowing. They got fresh air. They have a dry roof over their head. Yeah, it looks like these are just filled up now with cans. There's even a little hibachi grill. Rollerblades, you want rollerblades? It's kind of fascinating to see how other people live. And sometimes they have no choice, sometimes it is by choice. And I have no judgment on my side. People do what they gotta do to survive. But you look past that, it's got a lengthy tunnel. Just past the aluminum landfill over there. And we spotted this hole in the ground, rectangle shaped. And what I noticed is it's actually brick lined and it goes underneath. So as to where it goes, I don't know. It almost like a little access for maybe conduit or something, or utilities. So at any given time, we do hear people talking. There's people walking by. There's vehicles passing. I think the right lane's going that direction. Left lane's coming this way. There's a big root system, though, growing through, which is taking advantage of the sunlight and the rainwater. Yo, anyone up there? Still pressing forward, and we just noticed a few hundred yards ahead, there's a red light. We thought maybe it was a reflector like we saw earlier on the bicycle. This one's solid, steady red. I don't know if that's a vehicle or just a coincidence that the sun is shining on something that's reflecting as we're just walking down. So I guess we'll just keep a close eye on it and make sure it's nothing that's going to be problematic, but so far we've been the only ones down here.
Also another one. Here's some fuel for heater.
Yeah, so the spikes still do exist down here. Different conditions of them. There's also some J hooks. There's a plate right there. And where's the J hook? There it is. So, some artifacts down here. No rails yet, but something's better than nothing, as I like to say. Look at this. Doesn't this look like it was like scraped?
Yeah, it's weird.
Like something was dragged on there.
And it's like plowed up to the side.
Yeah.
Mounted next to it.
Some old spray cans. What is that? That is paint. That's the last air vent for a while behind us. We do see daylight ahead where that red light is, and that may or may not be where the tunnel ends, and there is a building there. I think that might be what we're looking at. Now the line obviously would have continued straight through there and would have veered to the left. We're going to try to follow that because there's another section of rail history over there. I'll be able to show you some of the rail guide apps of what used to exist, including a turntable and a rail yard. So we confirmed the red light that we saw were tail lights. That was a vehicle because it put the brakes on, went into gear, and pulled away. So that is under a building. I think it's an active, open business, if I'm not mistaken. But it looks like a tunnel going through it. So we may be able to keep going right through. If not, we may have to go up to the surface and bypass that because, again, there is another section I do want to show you. That's looking where we just came from, passed through this dark section here, and we have a bit of a change. So there is a grate system which is off to the left, and it has some modern steel beams up there. Looks like that was put in afterwards or rehabilitated. And down below it is a jumble of ties. So we finally came upon some ties here. There's a big mess of them. So whenever the rails were ripped up, they left these here. A couple times off camera too, we did see some individuals walking across. So you were saying before when we were topside that you were probably wondering how many people know this exists, right?
Yes.
It's probably very little, unless you're like probably local to the area and done research.
Yeah.
I've said it before, there's so many locations that we visit or document that people driving by, do they even know what's beneath them or next to them? Do they think they're just vents for something else? Do they know it's a former rail line previous to that, almost a canal? Makes you wonder. I would say the everyday, ordinary person walking or driving doesn't know what's beneath them, or that we're beneath them right now. So it's kind of unique, kind of a different way to look at it. But is that leaves? Sounds like it. We're about 150 yards away from possibly where we have to stop. And I think it's 50-50 if we could keep going, because that's definitely an active business or operation. There's a vehicle that was down there. I don't know if we're allowed to pass through or not, but it's pretty much open, a direct shot from this tunnel to beneath the building. Pressing ahead, just notice off to the left. I thought it was a safe for a second. I think that's an old electrical box for a signal possibly. And it's positioned here in this vestibule. There's even like a light receptacle in there, see it?
Wow.
It's like those, I think those are probably relays.
Some sort of switch, maybe?
Switches or relays. And look at the latch there too. See if it'll close.
Is there any writing on it?
OC and S Company. That's the one we mentioned before, I think. Made in USA.
US and SC. US and S Co.
US and S Co, yeah. Made in USA, Swissvale, Pennsylvania. Oh, that is really cool. Let's see if this latch works.
Looks like it's missing a piece.
Yeah, for the most part, it's still doing its job. Would have had a padlock on there probably. Big hatch on top. That is pretty neat. Yeah, somebody tagged it up 2018. Looks like a conduit opening there on the bottom left. And there's wires running into the ground as well. Another opening here. It's about our third one. We actually saw one that was graded. We believe it's a drainage ditch. And this one looks like it is deeper and has some water down there. Let me tilt up for you guys here. Yeah, there's water. And look, it's all brick lined. So these are every so often, and they would have had a metal grate over the top just for water runoff. And it's still serving its purpose today. This vestibule has something else in it, and you may be able to hear a train horn. Not sure I mentioned it already, I think I forgot to. The tunnel that I showed you where it was active CSX did parallel this for a while, but it did veer off at some point, so it's no longer right next to us. What is that?
It's different than the last thing.
That's concrete.
Concrete. This might have been mounted on the front. Some sort of wiring.
Oh, that's a distributor cap right there.
It looks like one, but it's not, is it?
I think it's like the same purpose of it. Everett, New York. I mean, yeah, it's not one, but it looks just like one.
Yeah.
It's wood on the inside here and on top. It's rotted away. Concrete lined. Wonder if this was maybe a battery box.
This installation?
Yeah, I think this might have been a battery box.
Could very well be. For lighting or who knows?
For the signal or the lighting or a pump or something, but I'm about 60-40, that's a battery box from the old railroad days. You check the duffel bag?
I'm not touching it.
Probably a good idea. Probably waiting there for the next pickup. Well, here is where things finally do transition from historic to modern. Now, obviously this building wouldn't be here back in the day, but it is kind of unique that they kind of built it in still the same premise of a tunnel going through it. I want to see if they actually merged right up to it or not, because the stone wall on the right continues right along it where that little van is there. There's another box there. Is there? This might be, I don't know. I don't see any signs right now, so we may be able to pass through. Here's another box. It's partially filled up with debris, but pretty much identical. So we've only come across two of these could also see 2 chisel marks where they drilled or chiseled it. Yeah, so we have an individual over there off to the left. I think in a moment or two we're just going to try to walk through as if we have done it before. It's going to be our best bet. And just looking where we came from. Camera's lighting it up really well. I'm going to show you what I see, which is more like that. So depending on how you look at it, this is where the tunnel officially ends or begins. And it's basically built right against the curve right there. There's even signs of homeless down here. There's a sleeping bag, graffiti, garbage. And this is top side. Oh, there's a date, 1898. So it looks like maybe the last work that was done was 1898, or at least when this part was put in here. $127 years old, right?
Yeah.
So there's nothing down here saying we can't pass through. So I think we're going to pass through. We're going to bypass this, pick up on the other side, but just imagine this wasn't like this, but trains would have continued straight through here around this left-hand curve. Well, thankfully we made it through, no issues at all. I believe people walk through here probably pretty frequently, as there's someone walking down there with their dog right now. So we're now on the outskirts here, and Matt actually spotted up on this building is a mural of a steam locomotive right there where that person's walking. So it's paying homage to the old railroad days. Now, as we're walking and talking here, this is known as Callowhill Cut. You can see it's basically a cut going right through the area. But as showing Matt on the Rail Guide app, there was numerous lines here. This was a heavily traveled artery of rail. The building we just walked under was a yard in itself. Looks like it had maybe a small turntable. And then as we continue up, there would have been different lines branching off to service different industries or businesses. So although it's parking right now, lines did continue through this way. And we're gonna walk straight ahead until there's a point where there's an old, I believe it's a spur line crossing over of an old girder bridge. But again, today, no one would know the difference. But these walls here on both sides are most likely original. It looks like it would have been a spur right there. Yeah, that would have went to maybe the yard or a business. Oh, I gotta look at that. Well, of course I have to know what's on the other side. What are you pointing at?
Right up through here, maybe?
Is there a pathway? Oh yeah, there's a lot of footprints up here. Someone's living up here. We're both up here now, just climbed up, and as you heard me say, someone's living up here, and they have actually quite a spot.
Look over there. See the drinks on the shelf?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we'll go back there a little bit and investigate, but this is what you get when you first come up on top. Clothing, books, some chairs. You could tell there was a beam that was cut here. And this would have been went right across. This would have been a spur line coming off where we're just walking to basically service something over here or to go to the yard. Yeah, I don't think those are drinks. I think that's someone's bathroom. This is definitely a nice place to call home for the most part compared to where we came from. There's even Dr. Seuss book. Does it go around the right hand? You want to find out? Matt's going to press ahead. It looks like it may or may not curve off to the right. Could be a dead end.
It does not.
It stops?
It stops.
Is there any ruins, like, or any evidence of where the line did go, or is it just all filled in?
It's all filled. You can come back.
Makes you wonder why they filled it up this high, but not all the way up.
So whatever building we're under, I guess has spray insulation from here on.
Okay.
If you look under here,
Yeah, it's all covered.
they insulated the underside of that building.
So I think over there, we're probably under a street or sidewalk. This is probably, like Matt said, under a building now. So aside from some, oh, there's upstairs. You can see a door right there. That's like the first or basement level.
I didn't come this for a while. Yo, look.
Wait. There's a light switch. There's pipes. There's like a corridor. Oh, wow. It's a fan. So maybe that's why they kept this open and didn't fill it in.
Air shaft?
Yeah, airflow.
Wow. You can hop right up in there.
Seriously. That is insane. That's a little cinder block room with a fence right there, a gate. I'm sure people have tried before. And this is spinning. This is going to throw a lot of air. I guess it would maybe suck air in, right? Or you think it would blow it out?
I don't know.
Wonder what they would need it for. And there's one lone chair back here. So it officially stops here. There's no evidence of it continuing. Looks like maybe enough room to drop off a car or two. And something below us would have had access, like a loading dock or something. Oh, gotta make our way out of here now. So this is a little side venture as we just stumbled upon it, and it is definitely worth checking out. Thankfully we came when no one's home. Got full access. Walking further down, I do see a fence ahead. Hopefully we could get past that because I do want to keep going. But the one thing I'm pointing out to Matt is that there was another little siding right here. So we came from that direction. The little offshoot that we just explored is off to the right. This is going up at a grade and dead ends at that building. So I think there was a switch somewhere around here, and this is a little elevated siding.
Amazing.
Yeah, there's even ties here. So 100% about that. Rails once existed here.
There's a rail right there.
Is there? Oh yeah.
It's like a 10-foot section of it laying on its side. You're looking at the bottom of it.
Yeah, there it is. It's tipped over on its side. Obviously that tree grew afterwards and it's now cut, but the road bridge may or may not have been here. I don't know. But regardless, we know what came through here. And over here on the left, it looks a bit interesting too. There's like some old platforms.
Growing and
yeah, they're growing right out of the concrete and the steel. There's old wrought iron railings too. Look pretty original. That honestly looks like another elevation for maybe another line at the time.
Could be.
I think that's what that is.
It goes up this way.
Yeah. That looks like an old spur line.
And then above it, would that have been anything? Is why they're using
It could have been. I mean, it could have been the business on top of it back in the day, but it's like a steel platform, so something was up there.
Huh.
But we do have a fence, which is troublesome. We're going to see if we could get past this. Well, as you can probably tell, things didn't go according to plan. We hit a dead end at that fence, but we're now topside, and you can see the mural in full display. I think if we keep walking along this old platform up here / wrought iron fence, we should be able to keep going and show where there's an old girder bridge ahead. And since we're up here, here's a look at Philadelphia, at least from this vantage point. All right, so we have a fenced off area here posted. We're gonna walk parallel to that, and here's just a brief view. I don't even know what street this is. It's a one-way street though. And there's like a little park over here. So beneath this gated fenced off area was that wrought iron steel platform that we saw. And it looked like maybe some remnants of the rail line. So this may have been an elevated section up here. Because right down here is where we had to turn around. There's the fenced off area. Here's the old wrought iron fencing here. You can see too, they have that thing so people can't climb out around it.
Yep.
Like a blocker. So from this vantage point, we'd be looking down on train traffic. Now it's just a desolate parking lot.
We're right in that crap.
Yeah.
It looks probably look terrible.
All right, let's keep pressing ahead. See if we can keep going. E-bike. E-bike South Street. Oh, this doesn't help us too much. We're now looking down to the area that we want to access, which is an old lot being reclaimed by nature. We need to go another block ahead to the next bridge, because ahead of that bridge is where the Girder bridge is, of a train bridge going across this cutout diagonally. I don't know if we'll be able to get down there. There's a parking garage over there on the right-hand side. We may be able to get access there. If not, we'll have to view it from top side. So we're gonna have to walk around this building here, get to that bridge, and assess the situation from there. All right, we made some progress. We just came from that bridge back there, walked around the building and parking garage, and we're now presented with the old Girder bridge. Still standing here in the cut. It's going right towards the parking garage, which wouldn't have been there at the time. And on the other side where it's open, well, it's just a parking lot now, but for the most part, it's pretty original on the left side, redeveloped on the right side. Should be able to walk up there, get a view through the fence to see if there's any rails on it still. And beneath us here, it's just an overgrown lot. Could do the Homer Simpson and just come out of the bushes.
Yeah.
So basically, you have to envision, prior to the pavement and cars, a rail coming through this lot, and would have crossed right over here. You can still see the walking deck. Planks are somewhat intact. Rails are gone. Ties are, for the most part, there. And now it just dead ends right into a parking garage. Fenced off on that side as well.
Cheaper to leave it than it is to...
Yeah, I mean, cheaper, and it just kind of pays homage to the rail history too. Something to kind of remind you.
Yeah.
See all the old rivets as well. I'm guessing back in the day they didn't have this fence here. People were able to cross it. But now it's a danger risk. But Callowhill Cut, pretty neat area. And this is the only major existing part of it that's still here today. Walk down another block, here's another view looking up. That's the direction we originally came from, where the tunnel was several blocks ahead. Now, what I thought was a tunnel is basically a roadway and a parking lot here. It says public parking. We're gonna walk in there and get confirmation if it keeps going. One thing I mentioned, which I think he may be correct, is that there's probably at some point further out, leveled out like an elevated grade and came to street level. So there's a good chance that could have happened further up ahead. Well, it may be hard to see through here as we're looking through a small fence. We were basically a block over in that direction. We said we're gonna go through the public parking lot. That ended up being a dead end. But the line did come through here, although these buildings are probably built closer than they would have been when the train was active. But I did confirm in Rail Guide that the line did come through here and continued in this direction. Now, I don't know if it went underneath this building or the building was built on top of it, but it kept going straight. And then about 2-3 blocks ahead, most of the lines curved off to the right. And we're gonna head over there because there's something called the Rail Park. I believe it's an elevated rail line that's now a public park, and that's gonna show some of the additional rail infrastructure that once existed. So little bit more to go. We're gonna head over there now. It's a 7-minute walk. We'll see what it's like. Got some rails in the street down here.
Got a van coming.
Caution, bus is turning.
Bus is turning. And straight ahead of us is an elevated bridge. That is the rail park. That's where we're heading right now. Welcome officially to the rail park down here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So although we're on the now modernized public section, I do want to show you what it used to look like right behind here. Behind here is the old ruins of the elevated platform. Got some electrical infrastructure there. Train line went across that bridge. And right back here is the old section, complete with a signal bridge and the remnants of a water tower right there. So they transformed it from what we see now to where we're going to be walking. So you got ruins and abandoned, and renovated into what we see today. And so the gigantic swings here on these iron beams. Looks like they have a gravel section and a boardwalk section. Lots of seating, some shrubbery and landscaping, and it goes around at a curve. So I don't know how far it's going to go. We're going to find out, but really neat area to know that what we were checking out underground, we're now checking out above ground. So we've come full circle in exploring the old reading lines here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Push me. Yeah, these are heavy. It's actually pretty neat to sit here and to view the city. I think these are rated for Sasquatch size. These are heavy duty. Yeah, here's the view from the swing. Not too shabby.
Good rooftop balcony.
Oh yeah. Notice too, these are made out of ties like you'd see for the railroad. It's a power grid right there. A lot of modern buildings we've been noticing. Right there. There's one being constructed right over here as we speak. I'd say if you are visiting Philadelphia, consider checking this out. This is a neat little thing that you could visit for free, get a little bit upper views. And there's also one like this in New York City, which I have not been to yet, but they have an elevated rail line, which is now a park. So this is like a miniature version right here in Philadelphia. And the signs I showed you tell you how to get to it right by Callowhill and Noble Street. There's even an old signal right here. Yeah, one to the next.
That can't be OSHA approved. That guy drops it, knocks out everyone below.
If an accident happens, they're going to have to pay me a good chunk not to air the footage. That's one way to do it. Now down here you can see the rails continued both straight and making a right onto Noble Street. It looks like they maybe split off over there. I'm guessing streetcar service. I don't know when that was used or last used, but a lot of history in this city. Looking back where we came from, we came around the sweeping curve. And And over here now is where it unofficially ends. We're now back to a residential street, which dead ends right here. There's a bridge there that is closed for vehicle use. And you can see the old girder bridges here. Looks like two lines came across here. And if we were to continue, it basically ends out on the street here. So let's give you a view of that. And it looks like there may be a placard over here too, which may help. Oh, here's like, look at this, Matt.
Wow.
It's like a history timeline.
I was distracted by the dogs.
Yeah, it's too much to show you, but if you come over on this side, they have a big timeline here. There's the Delaware River, and it shows you how things have progressed. Industrial Revolution, it says. Oh, this shows where we are too. You are here. So there's the line. So we started back there. I showed you the old section. I showed you the other direction. That's the bridge now, and we are right there. So it looks like it would have continued. You even spot a few things. Reading lines, engine house, a steam locomotive. A lot of old businesses, factories. Here's where you can no longer go. I don't know where this car is going. Yeah, it's bridge closed. Can't go any further. And look at that. Pennsylvania Tunnel Matt spotted. That's where we started today's journey and adventure. Also located here in Philly is the Baldwin Locomotive Works, where they build the Baldwin steam locomotives. So that's located here in downtown Philly as well. They're paying homage to that. Flue department, ash pans, iron cars, dome casings, sandbox casings. And a little placard here, Workshop of the World. Biscuits to bicycles, homegrown mite, and the Reading Company. And here's a look. This is the cut area, Callowhill Cut, of what it used to look like. So that's basically what we're documenting right now. And just the loads of rail infrastructure in the old warehouses and businesses, and then the rails going right out to the, I think that's the river right there. And Pensy, so really neat though, but that's a great look at basically what we've been covering, the cut area. That history timeline is pretty neat. Just standing looking at it off camera, there's a lot of things you could pick out as far as like things at the ports, fish company, a box company, cigars, and a lot of rail related things too. Now I know over the years a lot of people have been mentioning about me coming to Philadelphia, and I'm not a huge fan of coming here just because it's a really crazy congested city, but this was an opportunity I couldn't pass up. Once I found out about that abandoned train tunnel and learned some of the history about it, I knew I had to check it out for myself and to bring you along as well. So first off, I do want to thank Matt for coming along. This is not something I wanted to do myself, but I will say we came the right time. We didn't encounter any issues or any problems other than just physical roadblocks with the fences. But although we saw signs of people living down there, there was no one there. So a word of advice, if you do come, I'd say come in the early morning if you could, or come when it's colder out. Less likelihood of running into someone down there that you don't want to. I wouldn't advise coming at night or in the summertime at night or alone. Just precautionary steps, not saying something will happen, but better to be safe than sorry. Hopefully you do appreciate the history I was able to share. There will be a provided link down below if you want to get more information about that tunnel and the lines that ran through here. And although this rail park was not part of our plan today, it just kind of fell into our lap because we were walking this direction, trying to trace the lines going through the cut area, and we saw this on the maps. I remember reading about it briefly online, and now we got to experience it for ourselves. So Philadelphia is loaded with a lot of history, especially related to railroads. The Reading Railroad was a big contributing factor to transportation back in the day, both for coal and servicing different businesses and industries in this area. And today, it's literally a shell of its former self. We found like one piece of rail, a couple of rails in the street for the trolley lines, and just old infrastructure like this bridge, which is now a park, the tunnel system, and other things if you do look around. So all in all, we had a great time. Super windy, chilly conditions, but with that being said, I was thrilled to be able to finally get here, go through it, share the history, show you what it's like, get you some measurements, and basically cover it from end to end and let you know my thoughts along the way. To see more videos just like this, make sure you check the link down below. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video. I hear the rails. It's coming.
You okay legally to stand here?
Like thunder.
That's going to come out on the other end.
The tunnel we were just in.
Wow. Dude.
We're off by like 30 minutes.
What are the odds? We got here right when one was
Yeah.
coming. That works, especially here in the city.
Since I had the Conrail shirt on and I have a camera, I'm just known as a rail fan, so.
Yeah. They see you guys a lot.
Yeah.